And today we're going to be discussing a very important issue, and that has to do with LGBT rights in Uganda. Those of you who don't know Uganda is is a East African country. The current president of that country is Yoweri Museveni, and he was rebel leader in the 1986. He came to power since 1986 to restore democracy to Uganda. Uganda too also have a guy that people know around the world. They call Idi Amin Adada. Idi Amin Adada was one of the guys who deported a lot of Indians from Uganda in the I think 1970s or 1980s. But today, as I said, we'll be talking about the issue of the Uganda government passing this law. But since we're talking about Africa, let's listen to some good African song. A good African song. That song is from southeastern Liberia, from the Global tribe. That's a Global tribe. They are in southeastern Liberia, from Maryland County in Liberia, and River G County, Sano County, and I think that you have some of them in. They have them in Grand Crew County. That's where that's the group of people singing over there. That's where I'm from. Part of the country I'm from, Liberia, small one. As I already stated, we'll be talking about Uganda today, and the issue we're going to be discussing is a very hard-button issue that has to do with LGBT rights. For those of you who don't follow African politics, a few days ago, Uganda passed a new anti LGBTQ law, and after they passed that law, the international community responded quickly to the law. Um, you know, LGBT activities in Africa is restricted. It's restricted to the extent that people who are gay or lesbians never come out publicly in many African countries to say they are lesbian or gay. A few days ago, as I already alluded to, Uganda's president Yoweri Museveni, as I said, he came to power in 2000, as in 1986, as a rebel leader. A few days ago, he signed this law, the new law that has been named one of the harshest in the world when it comes to LGBT rights. Yoweri Museveni signed that law, and Yoweri Museveni came to power on on the backdrop that he wanted to restore democracy to Uganda. The new law that was passed in Uganda include provision for death penalty for aggravated homosexuality, which includes transmitting HIV through gay sex. But here's the thing: I don't think HIV and AIDS has been spread widely in Africa. Saying Africa is one of the hotbed or one of the places that have the most HIV cases. I don't think it's been spread to gay sex. It is a controversial move that that draw international immediate international condemnation, and it puts Uganda foreign aid at risk. Most Western governments are threatening to cut aid to Uganda, and also impose sanctions on Uganda. According to press release, press information, say President Joe Biden of the United States didn't waste any time in expressing his concerns, and he threatened to cut aid and other sanctions. While Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the government, the United States government, is thinking about visa restrictions against Ugandan officials. The European Union is also taking stands against such a law. The European Union Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell, commenting that the law could undoubtedly impact Uganda's tie with the international partners. And we can make laws that restrict a certain group of people. I don't think that's fair. While Africans are very, very, very high on gay people when they are in Africa, right? When they are in Africa. But Uganda, in response to Western condemnation, Uganda Information Minister Christopher Baramusu, that's his name. Christopher Baramusu rejected the criticism and referred to it as a blackmail. If you don't have the resources and somebody is going to give you money, you also have to know, government give you aid, you also have to tailor your activities to the person, because every aid that the Western government gives, they got conditions. Baramusu stated that he said this: we do not consider homosexuality as a constitutional right. It is just a social deviation which we do not promote as Ugandans and Africans. No, but I don't think you can speak for every African. You can speak for all of us. No. I would be hurt when my son say he's a lesbian or gay, but I would respect his wishes. I will respect what he wants. But the Ugandan government is standing firm, on its position, asserting its sovereignty, and emphasizing that it legislates for their people, Ugandans, and they don't make laws for the Western world. That's true. I agree. Uganda make laws for Ugandans. However, the law they made has prompted a swift response from activists and lawyers within Uganda. Lawyers in Uganda are saying, no, the law is a harsh law. They are claiming it encourages discrimination, and that's true, as I already said. And stigmatization. So you say every man who is a gay person is having HIV and is going to transmit HIV. HIV is rampant, and I'm rampant. Sorry for that word. HIV is plentiful on the continent of Africa, not because of that, but the lawyers are also arguing that the law was passed without meaningful public participation. But HIV is being transmitted by African men having multiple partners. Multiple partners. But the United Nations is also involved, criticizing this. Volker Turk, that is the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, expressed his belief that the courts were found the law to be in violation of human rights, and they were Ugandan constitution. He said that this law, they were found a way in the law to say that the Ugandan constitution itself will say the law is unlawful. Mr. Tuck described the law as devastating and stated that it violates aspects such as the right to equality, non-discrimination, and to life. But you know, the thing is, we live in a global world, right? So it is not just governments and human rights organizations that are criticized, expressing their concerns over the law that has just been passed. Major corporations are also expressing their dissatisfaction over the law. And one of the major international corporations that is investing in Uganda is Total Energy from France. They are currently involved in a $3.5 billion project. They are building a pipeline between Uganda and Tanzania, and they express the opposition to the law. $3.5 billion, that's a lot of money. They are investing in Uganda and Tanzania. The company emphasized that respect for others is the core value of their work, of their company policies, their company core value and policies. So if you're making law, as I said, this is a global community. If you're making law, you gotta be thinking, how is it going to impact other people? You know, on the other side, in other places. But here's the thing: as this situation continues to unfold, it raises important questions about human rights, national sovereignty, and the role of foreign aid. Right? Should Western governments or even people who give money be using financial leverage to influence the policy of other countries? That's the question we all have to try to answer. How can we balance, right, respect for cultural differences? As I said, when I came to the United States of America, that was the first time I ever seen two men kissing. I was kissing and I was working at a hotel. How can we balance the respect for cultural differences with the need to protect human rights? I have not seen gay people before until I came to the United States in 2008. And you not say I was just some kind of guy. I was a guy who was at the law school before I came. So I was at the highest echelon of the social ladder in my country. But I've not seen gay people before. This is a complex and sensitive topic, right? That requires a thoughtful consideration, respect for the law. You know, I said this. I said, if my son wants to become a gay, I will be downhearted because I grew up in a culture where marriage is between a man and a woman. But my perspective has changed. I have respect for people who are gay and lesbian. And if somebody wants to be a gay, if my son wants to be a gay, I'm going to be disturbed, but I'm going to respect his wishes. That's what he wants. And Africans here in the United States, most of them are Democrats, and Democratic Party is the champion of gay rights. Yeah. But most Africans are still against gay people when they are in Africa. But when they come here, they are part of the Democratic Party. And they still respect gay people here. And they live with it. And most of them in Africa have studied in the United States, Great Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and other places. But they continue, some of them continue down the road of not respecting gay rights, passing harsh laws to restrict gay rights. I think the law that was passed in um, Uganda, I think Uganda government need to rethink that law. They need to spend the energy, they need to spend the resources in telling you you were Museveni, right? They need to be making law to tell you were Museveni. And look, my man, the Constitution. You don't need to change the Constitution to perpetuate yourself in power forever. Those are the kind of the law the Parliament in Uganda need to be passing. Parliament needs to be passing. And that's the law you were Museveni needs to be signing. It doesn't make any sense to me that a guy who came to power since 1986 spent 37 years in power is talking about passing human rights laws to restrict gays and lesbian marriage or relationship in Uganda. It doesn't make any sense. Spend that energy in telling you worry myself and look, your time is over. We're going to pass a stronger law. We're not going to sit around and change the Constitution. What Yoweri Museveni have not done since 1986 that he will do when he's already in his 90s. That's the thing, that if a guy is trying to change the Constitution because he's the only guy in Africa, that's only one person. He's the only person who can do it. At least you can say you're the only person who can do it in the next 4 years. Your body want to seek another 4 years in the office. And after the 4 years, he's going to leave. People who are saying, I'm the only person who can do it, that means you are not being able to, you are not being educated, you are not being training people. You are not being developing leaders so that when your time is over, you can have people taking over from you. 37 years in power, right? And you still change the Constitution to stay in power. And it's just not him. Alassane Ouattara in Ivory Coast. Alassane Ouattara was one of the darling of the Western world, right? Alassane Ouattara, he fight, undermine the government. He became president of Ivory Coast. Few years ago, he changed the Constitution to seek the third term. I think I'm deviating a little bit, but it's just because Yoweri Museveni of Uganda being in power for 30 some odd years, now trying to pass the harshest LGBTQ law on the continent of Africa. If you don't have gay activities in Africa, why are you worried about it? Why are you spending African resources, scarce resources that is supposed to use on something else, to pass a law that you don't even have gay people over there? Or if you want to pass a law, let everybody's rights be respected. Period. As I already said, if my son wants to be a gay, I will be devastated. But hey, that's what he wants. That's what my son wants. I will be devastated, but I will respect her right. People who are gay and lesbian here, I work with some of them. I respect their rights. They also respect my rights. We all coexist. We share the world together. It doesn't make any sense for people to think that they should impose their ways on people because they are in power.
Intervened in Abidjan with attack helicopters.
You gotta respect people's rights. You must respect people's rights.
To actually attack the heavy weapons.
My name is Kayo Gibigo Kawe, and you're watching Delmarva Point of View on YouTube. Delmarva Point of View is a community-based YouTube channel. Thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of this very important discussion. As you know, remember, your voice matters. Your voice matters. On the kind of issue we got to speak out.
You will have to work extensively to promote.
I will talk to you next week with another important issue. I will talk to you about. We'll be talking about important issue. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but next week Thursday. For a very important discussion, and you have a blessed weekend, and don't forget to subscribe. Next week I will open the line. If you want to call in, you can call in. The number will be given. I will send it through text message, through email. If you're not subscribe so you have the opportunity to call in and express your views on the very important issue. Once again, my name is Kayoki Pico Conway, and you are watching the Marvel Point of View on YouTube. Have a blessed day. I will talk to you next week. Bye for now.